We had the days.
And we switched it up a little bit. Sizzle tossed me the ball to have me do the bios. And see, you always holding it down for the ladies. Always. All right. This is Christy Luxe, and she purchased majority share of the WBA rights, the Women's Universal Basketball Association. WUBA provides benefits, programs, and services which promote members' professional growth and quality of basketball. The WUBA has been running since the spring of 2010, and in just 6 short weeks, the WUBA has sent over 250 proven athletes overseas. Lux, who already was a minority owner of the Southern Conference UBA, spearheaded a group that bought a majority share of the women's league from businessman J.D. Barnes. Lux says, "My vision for the league was to encourage more women to enter male dominated industries and to consider becoming team owners." Let's welcome Christy Lux.
Christy
Hey,
Luxe, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. How are you?
thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, I want to get into this big, this big deal or buyout, so to speak. But before I get there, right, let's talk a little bit about, you know, your entrepreneurial endeavors and what got you into just entrepreneurship and then ultimately making huge deals like this.
Well, honestly, I think it's the like of freedom at the end of the day. I like freedom. I like to be able to create my own lane and kind of dictate how I move. And I've always been very business savvy. So, it just kind of worked that way. And I started, my own business in '99 in talent management. So I've been kind of doing, the independent thing for a while and just transitioned to different industries that, I had passion for.
Right, right. Now, I just want to get into, I guess, a little as it relates to women in business and women entrepreneurship. You on your ladder or your climb to the positions that you're holding right now, have you felt that you were ever kind of marginalized in you know your positions, or felt like your voice just wasn't heard the way that you felt like it should be?
You know, it's interesting because I feel like that happens a lot to women, especially in male dominated industries. And every industry I've been in has been literally a male industry. From talent management, I've always managed men, from being the editor in chief in Crave, we're a men's fashion magazine. So I was the only female, even on the staff, much less as editor in chief. So for me, I don't feel I've ever really had that issue simply because I've always been the woman in power, so ultimately people are going to respect, the boss. So I've always been kind of at the top of my industry, so I haven't really experienced that a lot. And I think it was really interesting when going into last year when I purchased the Southern Conference of the UBA, which is the men's side. That's the men's minor league. And I purchased the Southern Conference, and there are 6 teams in my division. So I had owners of the teams. I owned one team, but I had team owners. I had players who played for years, who've run teams for years. And of course, everybody is male. They're all men. And to come in to this new situation where I've never owned a team before, but business is business at the end of the day for me. So when I came in, I really didn't know what to expect. But what I did know is a couple of things. One was that I was the owner, so it was going to be my way regardless, and I had something to offer. So I came in that way. This is what I do. This is who I am. And this is my background. So I never created an opening to show me anything but respect, if that makes sense.
Awesome.
So the great thing is I didn't have any issues. I was well received. Everyone, really respected how I moved. And, they said for the most, they look forward forward to working together. So we had a great working relationship. So I've never really encountered problems, but I know that there can be. But I think that also comes from creating my own lane and being able to step into positions where I control what I'm doing. You know, I feel like if I were, say, even at the top on a corporate level in some of these industries, it would be much more opposition. But fortunately, you know, like I say, I created my own lane, and, you know, everything was kind of something that I can control independently. So I didn't really have a whole lot of problems.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Christy, I want to know, like, with wearing so many hats, like, what's the first thing that comes into your mind in the morning? Like, as soon as you open your eyes, what clicks in your brain to jumpstart your day?
You know, just like, okay, what do I have to do today? The very first thing I do, like, you know, I try to prioritize, and I try, like, in a perfect world, I can separate out the different hats that I wear according to the day. And I try to work, you know, okay, well, today is entertainment day. Today is sports day. You know, it doesn't always run that way because things happen, but I try to be organized and know exactly what I have to do. And I organize out my schedule days in advance. So when I wake up, it's go time. So I already know what's on my plate, you know, for that day. Phone, I have, you know, everything on my phone, and I get notifications and reminders of things that I have to do. And I'm old school, so I keep things literally on paper. I have an actual to-do list, and I check them off as I go. And if, you know, whatever I didn't get done, I roll over to the next day if I can, you know. But just being organized. So when I get up in the morning, it's just like, okay, it's time to go. I already know from the day before, you know, what I have to do today. So it's just go time. I don't sleep a lot. And I don't sleep well. My mind is always going at night, you know, so I'm a bit of an insomniac, but just always, you know, in motion.
I know that's right. Join the crowd, because I don't think none of us sleep. We're constantly moving. We're constantly moving. You know what? And, you know, I want to talk a little bit about that climb too, because you said the first purchase you made was the men's basketball team, right? Or the league. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So what happened basically, you know, I mean, I've been in the business of management for several years. Sometimes, you know, it started with talent management, and, you know, I used to do event management. Then being the editor-in-chief of Crave, that really is managing the magazine. So at the end of the day, management is what I do. And it all looks the same to me, you know, regardless of what the field is or what the industry is, it all looks the same. You know, I'm a leader. I lead whatever it is that I'm doing. You know, you find the people who are on your team, you encourage them to be their best, and you lead them to do so. So I've always been a leader. So in 2018, I stepped down from Crave just because I've been with Crave for 10 years. And I felt like I had peaked. You know, I felt like it was time to do something different, and also time to allow a new vision to come to the magazine. So I stepped down. I didn't know what exactly I was going to do, but I know I needed to create space for whatever was going to be next. So that was in November of 2018. So then you fast forward to May of 2019, and my father died suddenly. We didn't expect him to die. He wasn't even sick. He had, you know, a lung infection, but he just had a cough, and he, you know, suddenly died. And my dad was a basketball legend. So he was with the Harlem Globetrotters for 20 years. But he was a high school legend, boys high school, famed boys high school in Brooklyn. He was a high school legend. When he played on the team, they changed the mascot to the Kangaroos because of his high jumping ability. And they're still the Kangaroos to this day. It's now Boys and Girls High in New York. So he was a high school legend. He was a college legend. He was a Globetrotter legend. He was a Rucker Park legend. He's in all of their halls of fame. So he's in about 7 different halls. So when he died, you know, for me, it was important to continue the legacy. You know, how can I honor his legacy, you know, and make sure that everyone knew how great my dad was, and, you know, and just pay my respect. So I knew somebody that owned a minor league basketball team out here who, you know, we kind of social media friends, you know, done a couple of little things. So I was like, well, you know, maybe I'll just contact him and see if I can I don't know, sponsor the team or whatever. I really didn't know at that point. And when we had a conversation, he was telling me that he was starting his own league. And I was like, okay, well, that's cool. That sounds good. You know, let's talk about that. Do you want a partner? And so I met with him and his partner. We could not come to terms. We just couldn't come to an agreement. So I said, okay, well, you know what? Maybe I'll start with team ownership, because if he can own a team, why can't I own a team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was, because we couldn't come to terms, first of all, I knew that he couldn't be that great of a businessman if we couldn't come to terms, because I'm somebody you want to do business with, you know, and I made them a very generous offer. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I don't need to do business with you anyway. So what I did was I said, well, let me go back to the league that they're currently in, not the new startup league they're trying. Let me go where they've been for these past several years. Let me just reach out to them. So I did. I reached out to the league, and the owner, he actually lives overseas, and just so happened he was in Atlanta. He was coming to Atlanta like that next week, and he was like, well, let's have a meeting. So we did.
We can't. We lost her
Asked
volume.
him,
Okay.
oh, I'm sorry. Am I
It's
here?
cutting out.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. So yeah, so we immediately just, you know, we were like-minded, and I left that meeting knowing, okay, I'm going to do something. But I asked him, I said, well, what are the opportunities that are available? And he said, you know, you should consider owning the division. And I was like, okay, well, what does that look like? You know, because I mean, I believe in go big, you know? So it worked out. It worked out well. And that's how I ended up buying the Southern Conference. I have one team that I actually own and operate. So there's 6 teams total. I own the division, but I also own one team myself. It's the Atlanta Kings. And what I did when I decided to form the team, I created a women's co-op. So the Kings are owned only by women. So I created a co-op because I wanted women to get in, you know, think outside the box. We can do anything. This is an industry you may not have thought about, but get in. You have the benefit of owning a team without the responsibility of owning a team. So, you know, I put together this group, and that's what we did. So I have all women owners in the Atlanta Kings. You know, the main thing is teaching them how to also leverage that to grow the businesses that they have outside. Because I tell you, the conversation looks very different when you're in a group of, you know, anybody, especially guys, and they say, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, well, I own a men's basketball league. What do you do? You know, kind of thing. So, you know, just teaching them also, look, you have to leverage this because sports is universal. You know, it's a universal language. So, yeah, so the Kings run by all women, and we ran, last season was our first season. The season was in February, but of course it came to a halt with the COVID, like, you know, everything else, other sports. But during that time, it was great. My division ran successfully, smoothly, and we grew quickly. So that was, at that point is when the owner came to me and he said, hey, I have an opportunity I want to talk to you about. And I was like, okay. So that's where the WUBA came in. And he, you know, talked to me about bringing the league back. So the WUBA ran for 7 seasons. The UBA on the men's side ran for 10 seasons. So 3 seasons ago, they ceased the WUBA. But it was now a good time. He wanted to bring it back, and he was looking for new leadership. And we talked about it, and it fit. It fit. It was perfect, you know. And for me, because I've been in such, you know, the industries, I've always worked with men. You know, like I said, from the magazine to my clients that I manage. I used to manage hip hop artists back in the day in Brooklyn, so they were all men. And for me, being such a person that's so pro-woman, you know, that's, I struggle with that quite a bit. You know, my thing is, how can I give back to women? How can I pour into women? You know, when everything that I do on the career side is geared towards men. So it was perfect for me. It really was. And the opportunity was great. And the things that we're able to do to really help these women get in and have a safe professional environment to really, you know, pursue their careers. It's, you know, I mean, it's perfect. Who could ask for anything else, you know? So our first season will be in October. The season starts in October. Right now we have 4 divisions. We have Atlanta. We have the Eastern Division is in the Carolinas. We have LA, and we have New York. I'm sorry, not LA, it's Oakland. And we have New York, and we're adding divisions, across the boards. But man, it's going to be a big season. It's going to be a big season, and we're excited about it.
That's big. Go ahead, Sizzle.
No, I was just gonna say, now we have a lot of players that are kind of like speaking out in protest of Black Lives Matter and those things like that. And then we also have a president who is saying that he is threatening to basically boycott the NFL season if players are allowed to kneel in protest. So what are your thoughts about that, about, players being able to use their platform to advocate for different causes like that?
I think that they absolutely should. I think that they should. I think when you have a voice, it's important that you use it. For us, our entire league, we're Black owned. Our players are predominantly, almost all of our players are, of color. And what I can tell you is that we will all be kneeling, if we even play the national anthem. We may just, divert to the Black national anthem. How about that? Huh. But I think that it's important. You know what I mean? It's important. I am a Black woman. I am the mother of Black sons. I have 2 boys. And it is important that we use our voice and we use our platform. And, you have to make change. You have to affect and be effective when you can.
Wow, that's big. I'm wow, because I was going to ask a question similar, and as it relates to your players, and what would your response be if you had the players kind of protesting and saying, what, the whole team is going to kneel. And the fact that you mentioned that, look, you might be down there kneeling, that's a big step, and it's huge to say. It's a great position to take as it relates to positioning ownership of Black business, Black ownership, because when you have that, you're able to kind of make your own decisions without feeling that, okay, if I do this, I'll be judged from people who doesn't necessarily look like me.
Right.
Right. So sister, I got a question, because you were talking about, a group of women and women owners. Do you know Sister Giovanni Thompson?
I don't think so.
If you don't, we need to really connect you two together. She owns or ownership of the Camden Monarchs, a Black sister too.
Okay.
So we'll make sure that you get that information and she connects with you, because I think that would be a great relationship with not only you in the South area, but coming down north and you guys creating this kind of network of, as you said, women owners, Black women owners. And I think that's a major position. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Absolutely. I would love that. That would be amazing.
Fantastic, man. I'm excited about that connection right there. So while you're feeling grateful and all Black empowered, don't forget that you got We Talk Weekly here. And anytime you want to bring us down there to cover some stuff, just let us know. We'll calm down, know?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That would be great.
So what is your next move? I mean, you purchased you're making all these purchases. You're pretty much. That's funny to tell somebody, so for somebody to say, "Oh, well, I play on this team," you can say, "Well, I own the division that you're playing on, which is huge, right?" And so I just have this, I'm a creative, so I have this kind of picture in my head, this movie where you kind of walk up and just be like, you play for me, pretty much. That's so funny.
Right.
But
when it comes, they all know that. They know that, and when they see me in the building, every player, they all come through. Boss lady, hey, how are you? They already know. I made so many changes, but they know. Trust me, they know. When they see me come in the building, they know who I am.
And Christy, it's good, and I'm glad to hear you say that, especially with the respect of them showing you respect, because as well as the Me Too movement, where a woman in a male-dominated industry has gone through so many journeys, especially even being a Black woman. So what would you give advice for Black women or women in general that are in a male dominated world and may be a little intimidated, and may not have the voice or know where to stand and how to approach that, what would you tell them?
Out here today, and it has completely knocked out the internet. So I had to use my phone, and it's like the signals are bad, in the area. Yeah, we had some really bad storms here.
Yeah, I think we're getting those storms on Sunday or something like that. They're making their way up here.
Yeah, it was really, really bad. I was like, am I in the eye of a tornado? It was crazy. But but yeah, so I mean, I would just say that women, I mean, we're powerful. We're powerful, we really are. And to just be strong and just go in there with the knowledge. When you know what you're doing, it doesn't matter who you're talking to, know your stuff. And trust me, when you can back it up, it doesn't matter what they say or what kind of opposition. At the end of the day, I walk in mine. And that's what every woman, we just have to walk in it, and be fearless.
Yeah,
be fearless, be strong.
So do you have any
Go ahead.
Do you have any regrets? Is there anything that now that if you could do it over, you would do it over?
Not in my professional life. I really don't. I think that every move that I've made professionally has prepared me for the next step and the next phase. So, I have no regrets professionally, none whatsoever.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's big too. Have you ever, one of the questions that I like to ask people are, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you're independent, or you're an entertainer, is have you ever got to the point where you felt like, you know what, this is just too much. I want to give up. And if you felt like that, what pushed you back over to say, you know what, I'm not giving up?
There have definitely been times. It can be challenging and stressful, and especially when you manage people, I was in talent management for so long. I'm still in talent management. I still have a client that I manage. I've been managing for 5 years, and he's big. He's on the Oval, and he's one of the most recognizable faces on social media. So, managing, I still manage him to this day. And so I'm on the entertainment side and the sports side. I think at the end of the day, you just have to remember that it's a phase. If you're passionate about what you do, then even if you have a bad day, you're always going to wrap right back around. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, it's a challenge day, but we're going to get up tomorrow and start over. But it's because of the passion for what you do. And I tell people, I firmly believe that success without passion is just work. It's just work. It doesn't matter how much money I make. You know what I mean? I can be successful and make money, but if I'm not passionate about what I'm doing, it's just work, period. So it's the passion that keeps you moving forward. That's what gives you the drive day in and day out. I only do things that I'm passionate about. I only work with people that I want to work with. I don't do anything. I'm not paper chasing. I'm purpose chasing all the time. I'm chasing my passion. The money is going to come. When you're great at something and you're passionate about it, the money is going to come. You know what I mean? And the goal was never to be just rich. It's to be free. It's to be free. I want to live on my own terms. I want to be able to make decisions that I feel good about and work with people that I want to work with, as opposed to having to do things that I don't want to do. So even on the bad days, all I do is go to sleep because it's going to be okay tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Preach.
So keep pushing through. Just keep pushing through.
That's
Wow.
right.
So where do you see yourself in 3 years?
I don't know. I don't know, because it's always evolving. And for me, I didn't see myself here a year ago, owning the WUBA. A year ago, I didn't see myself owning the UBA. So it's ever evolving for me. My next transition my plan was to transition into TV and more like on the production side of television. That was going to be my next step after, leaving the magazine. I'm still headed there. I actually literally just inked a deal. I don't know if you all are familiar with, if you remember Phyllis Yvonne Stickney. actress,
Mhm.
sister,
Yes.
like just really dope sister, you know, conscious sister, and just talented. Well,
Mhm.
we actually just literally yesterday I inked a deal to partner in a production studio with Phyllis. So that'll be, you know, next. Yeah, Private Stock Productions, and we're going to be forming a studio and getting some of these independent projects up and running, and you know, supporting people in their plans to create these projects. So you know, I'll have a camera in one hand and a ball in the other. So you know, I don't know what I don't know what it looks like in 3 years from now. But whatever it is going to be great. Because I believe in being great.
I know that.
I do. I just believe it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know that's right. Well, sister, I appreciate you, and I definitely wish you the best. And when you're talking about having that other camera in the other hand, and you want to get in TV and all that good old stuff, just remember we talk weekly when you feel like, you know, it's this group out there. I think I want to, you know, start managing and put them and ink a deal with them. We'll definitely appreciate you for doing that. You know what I mean? But before we let you leave, you gotta let everybody know how they can get in contact with you, all that good old stuff.
Well, my IG is Christy Luxe, and you know, I have so many pages between the WUBA, the UBA, the Kings, Travis Cure, Crave Magazine, Lux House, which is my company. But if you go to Christy Luxe on IG, they are all there in my bio, so you know exactly how to find me and how to find each group that I represent.
Oh, fantastic.
Wow.
This is what I want to do real quick. I'm going to do something a little different because I want you to get a picture or a screenshot of this sister. I'm going to share my screen with you. And
Okay.
let's see here. Let's see what we can do here. All right. This is her right here. She owns the Camden Monarch. You know, I'm only talking about her because I believe that it's a necessary connection that I believe you guys can form something big and something major. Giovanni Thompson, we had her on the show before. I just think that this will be a good look for both of you guys, and you know, if that's something that I can, you know, push and make sure that I can start something that's fantastic for the connection for you guys, then hopefully that'll work for you. And there it go, you know. So
absolutely.
So without further ado, I'd just like to thank you for coming to the show. And as we say to everybody, once you come to the show, you're always a friend to the show, so you could come on anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
No
Thank
doubt.
you for having me.
No doubt. You take care now.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your girl Lauren Sizzle and Classy Lady Sparkle. And have you subscribed to our channel yet? If the answer is no, you need to subscribe now. Yeah, so stop what you're doing, go right now and subscribe. We like you, you like us, so go ahead and subscribe. Come on over, be a part of the family of We Talk Weekly and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe now.